Plymouth Argyle, currently sitting rock bottom of the championship with no win in 8 matches, and their last victory was back on the 5th of November, a 1-0 win over Portsmouth. There is not too much to talk about Wayne Rooney's failed stint here, but you know what? It's time to shake things up. I'm stepping in to take control and kickstart a 5-year rebuild that will go down in the club's history. We'll play fast-paced attacking football that is going to bring joy back to these fans, and we're aiming for something huge. Not just promotion from the championship, but we're going to be gunning for the Premier League title itself. That's right, we're going all the way to the top of English football. So let's turn Plymouth Argyle into the greatest underdog story ever seen in Football Manager history. Are you ready? Let's go. So then, this is going to be Plymouth Argyle inside of Football Manager 2024, and I will say they are having a stinker of a season at the moment. All the facts in the start were at the current time of recording, which is the 28th. They do play tomorrow, hopefully they pick up 3 points there, but they're not enjoying a great time. They're all the way, as I said, rock bottom where Sheffield United are before you start the season. They are having an awful time, and there's not too much to real talk about here in terms of reputation, training, or even youth facilities. They're not the biggest club ever, and they do need a helping hand. They have won trophies in the past though, 3 Sky Bet League 1s, 1 Sky Bet League 2, and a few other trophies here which aren't exactly too much to talk about. But for a club of their level, they're actually quite a big deal. Now, in terms of the actual project here, as I said, I want to get promoters to the Premier League, and I also want to really try and push for that Premier League title. Now, looking at the team, we are going to be using this 4-2-3-1. Again, at any point in this video, if you fancy getting the tactic and this rebuild file, you can come and check out the Patreon in the link below, where you get not only this rebuild file and this tactic, you get all of my tactics from this year, and also the rebuild files. There's absolutely tons of exclusive content, and we've got pretty much a promo running all the way to the end of this month, so make sure you come on over and get involved. Now, I will say, in terms of some of the players we've got here, we're actually okay. Genuinely, we are okay. Now, the likes of Whitaker is a player who I'm really excited for. He is a very good Sky Bet Championship player. Maybe not a Premier League standard player, but for the Championship, he can do incredibly well. He's got attributes which, to be fair, some Premier League teams might even take, so very happy to have him in the team. Another player that I'm very happy to have is going to be Ibrahim Sissoko. Again, he is rapid on the ball, he's got fantastic dribbling, his composure's decent, his finishing's pretty average, but I will say again, for the Championship, he is more than okay. I think this is actually quite a harsh current ability status, to be honest, but hey ho. That's what the assistant manager thinks. Up front, we've got a great striker, and actually, I would say a Premier League standard striker. I really have used this guy before, and he always does such a good job. That is going to be Mohamed Tijani, I believe is how you say that, a fantastic player. Of course, going through the rest of the team, there's not exactly loads and loads to talk about. They're pretty, you know, I'm not going to say average in a disrespectful way, but that is pretty much what there are. Not many of these players are going to be sort of hacking it in the Premier League, so the main aim is to, of course, take these players and turn them into Premier League players, then see who can survive, who doesn't survive, and rebuild this team over 5 years. Now, a little fun fact, if you actually go into the Sky Bet Championship, we are predicted to finish pretty much all the way in rock bottom. 22nd, just behind, is Oxford and Portsmouth, so I will say it is not going to be easy. I am going to be playing a 4-2-3-1, which, you know, my 4-2-3-1s do usually cook, so maybe we've got a chance of finishing inside the top sort of playoff spots and maybe making it to the Premier League in Season 1. I honestly don't know, but only time is going to tell. I will say, if you do enjoy the rebuilds, please do leave a like and subscribe. It helps more than you can ever imagine. Let's get into Season 1, and hopefully we come back and we're at least in, you know, at least in the playoff spot. So, top 6. So then, it is a lot better than the top 6. We are actually going to be second place, a fair few points behind Leeds, as we did draw 10 games, so that's where a few points have been lost. But I tell you what, that is a remarkable season, instantly in to the Premier League. Obviously, this is the easy part of the video. Winning the Premier League is going to be the real core challenge. Now, what I will say is, in terms of how we've performed this season, we've got to look at this man here, because he has come in and done a fantastic job. I mean, he's already a decent Premier League player, and it might actually be quite hard to keep him. You can see here, he's on loan, so we've got to buy this player, and I imagine Slavia Prague, don't know where Sevilla come from, I don't know if they're going to want to sell him. In fact, let's do it live on the video. So they would actually take 5.8 to 7 million pounds. We're going to have to see if we've even got that money, because I've not even seen what our budget is. Now, in terms of average rating, Callum Wright and Mumba also are going to contribute heavily. We've got the joint first most amount of clean sheets, so Daniel, thank you for that. I mean, a goalkeeper who I might give one season in the Prem to, but I am not the most confident in his current ability. Assists, Morgan Whittaker, again a player who I am going to keep and probably will give him a chance in the Premier League because he's done such a good job. Mumba as well, of course, a very versatile player, only 23 years of age as well. So realistically, we have done fantastic. Now, in terms of other competitions, it wasn't the best, but to be honest, as you can imagine, I don't really care because the main aim was this Sky Bet Championship. The first round and exit against Oxford 2-1 in the Carabao Cup, and the third round against Oxford as well, which is a little bit annoying because that is 2 times Oxford have sort of got the one up on us. A 2-0 defeat, so clearly we can, you know, get promoted, but we just can't beat Oxford in any competition, which is pretty interesting. But in terms of the finances, I'm hoping we've at least got 30 million. Okay, it's literally bang on for, okay, way more than that. We've got 45 million. That is a very, very, very generous budget for, trust me, I've seen budgets in this game. That is incredibly generous. Now, in terms of the squad, of course, we can go and see right now. And in fact, let's just go and have a little look, shall we? I mean, based off the average rating, I'm going to give it to Callum Wright because he has played a load of games. So he is our best player based off the average rating. And in terms of the goals, 27 for the loanee, 21 for Callum Wright, a player we didn't even really discuss at the start. He has balled out for this season, and fair play to him. We've also got, this is all competitions, by the way, to clarify that. 9 assists, very good. 13 and 15 for Morgan Whittaker. Sissoko, 10 and 10. 8 and 4 coming in there for Bundu. Mumba, 6 and 13. Not too bad either. A lot of the bulk load being done by, obviously, the loanee and Mohammed and Callum Wright. Now, I will say, in terms of contracts, obviously, we've got Sissoko and Mohammed who we need to try and bring in on the permanent. Both of them I really want. Is Sissoko going to be realistic? Let's check. He is also realistic, so we can bring in both of these loanee players. Darko didn't really do much of a good job, so he can go. Now, if you actually feast your eyes on the expire tab just here, you can actually see a lot of players are going to be expiring even next year. Now, this is not a bad thing because a lot of these players aren't going to be Premier League quality, so if they do leave on the free, their value is essentially nothing anyway. So I'm going to try and offer the ones that deserve and are good enough some contracts. The people that won't, I will replace. This is going to be a big rebuild, guys. It's not going to be a 5-second job. And this team, which I'm looking at on paper, if we filter by the best 11, not much has changed at all. This team's good for the Championship, but in the Premier League, only maybe 3, potentially 4 faces, they survive. So the first signing is going to be an experienced signing in Sergio Reguilon. Now, I will say, again, not maybe the best Premier League left-back ever to grace the game, but he does offer experience. He has played for United, Tottenham, and of course some other teams outside of England that do gain him a lot of experience. He cost me literally nothing, and he has been a big part in this Premier League season, also contributing with 5 assists. So he has been a very, very big part of this team, and you know what? He's not even on that much per week. Considering what you can pay, I will take him any day. That has been pretty decent for Ipswich over the past few years. It's going to be Harry Clark. He's now going to be a Plymouth Argyle player. He comes in for 9 million and again drops a masterclass. 7.37, 10 assists and 35 Premier League appearances. I will say he was spending his time at right back, so he is going to get assists, and I'm happy he's playing at right back because he is rapid, he can put a ball in, he's got good work rate, and the stamina is pretty average, but it's okay. He is a great option, and again, a very cheap option that of course was interested. A player that I did have to sort of spend a fair bit of budget on, and I'm sorry to our previous goalkeeper, but I don't think he was Premier League standard. We are going to bring in James Trafford for 26 million. He comes in and he does okay, drops a 7.12, but he is such an improvement on our previous goalkeeper. It was an absolute no-brainer. The other 2 signings are the faces you'd expect. It is going to be Ibrahim Sissoko. We ended up getting him for a total of 1.7 million. He actually has a very good season in the Premier League. It's never going to be as good as the Championship, but he's done quite well. And of course, we also are going to pick up Mohammed. How has he done in the Premier League? I'm going to go with 11 goals. 22 goals. 22 goals. That is a great signing. Who would have thought it? I thought there would have been a bit of a fall-off. He has done very well. Maybe we've actually survived the Premier League. Well, we're going to start off with the cups because the Carabao Cup, we actually we lose on penalties to Chelsea, which isn't ideal. I will be honest, it's not ideal. Comes to the FA Cup, it is going to be a quarter-final exit against West Ham, which again isn't ideal, but I've got to be realistic. This is not our battle, not this season. We're not interested in the cups at all this video, really. The Premier League is the main expectation, and expectations come with, well, Jesus Christ, a top 4 finish. Okay, a top 4 finish here, and I will say it is not flawless at all. Some of these losses are actually quite ugly as well. I mean, a 4-2 defeat to Chelsea. The rest of them are actually somewhat okay losses. I mean, it's very good for Season 1 with Plymouth. I will say, the best player in the league is Harry Clarke, so if any Ipswich fans are watching, never let him go, because he has obviously got the talent. Arsenal are going to win the Premier League, Tottenham and Liverpool behind, City and United and Chelsea behind Plymouth. I mean, that might be realistic. If you look at the real-life table, that could be somewhat realistic. Now, in terms of other stats, James Trafford, the most clean sheets. I did know picking him up was going to be a great addition to the team, but the downside is, and if you can see this, don't judge it. We are 3 out of the 4 players in the most yellow cards in the league, so we are being quite dirty, but I don't mind it because we are literally finishing in Champions League places. Also, we've got Mohamed there, the joint second top goal scorer, 1 goal off joint first, so he is one of the better Premier League strikers out of any team in the Premier League. And what I will say is, I would imagine after a Champions League finish, the money has got to be quite good, isn't it? So let's go and have a little look. I'm going to go with 60 million. 42 million. Okay, well, I suppose we did spend a bit last season, so I will take that and I will run with it. We'll see what we can do with 42 million. Again, looking at the squad, we are of course going to go and see the goals coming in here from, I mean, that is incredible. What a time. 27 goals for Mohamed, 16 for Morgan Whittaker. He is not flopped in the Premier League and of course other competitions. 12 and 10 there for Callum Wright, Sissoko 6 and 6, 4 and 7 for Reguilon, not too bad at all. 11 assists here from Harry Clarke. It is really, really impressive. This guy here, as I said, he cost me what? He cost me 9 million. Only 1 assist also come outside of the Prem, so he's having a great time. Again, in terms of contracts, I'm not worried because this is the beautiful side of doing a smaller team rebuild. Players can happily go. We're not got to stress about keeping them. The players we're bringing in typically are going to be on the good contracts. So you go Trafford, Clarke, Mumba, Whittaker. They're all secure, so we've not got to worry at all. We can go in with this, 42 million, and we can go and spend. Let's get into season 3. Right then, we're going to bring in a player, and it is going to be a bit of a business move because we are going to somehow get Lazar Samardzic. Now, this player comes in on the free, and he does somewhat okay, but we're thinking bigger picture here because he will not stay at this club. He's bigger than Plymouth, and genuinely, we could get some serious money here, put some money back into the club, which can fund other transfers. So, already after 1 season, he's valued at 65 million. We might, in a couple of seasons, if not next season, be able to actually get that money back for him. So, this is a business move, but let's not joke. He is also a great player. Another player which I've not heard of too much is going to be Gaston Gonzalez. Now, I will be honest, he does okay. He's more of a sort of rotation player. He comes in on the free again, so not a lot lost really. I got him in because, one, we needed depth. He's quite quick on the wing. He can put in a good ball. His finishing's quite good. There's a lot of reasons for it, but also similar to Lazar, we can also cash in. We've got to think business with a team like Plymouth. Which is why we're also going to bring in players like this. We are going to bring in Zidane Iqbal. He comes in, of course, from Manchester United for 7.5 million, and he plays a great season. Now, despite me never wanting to sell this guy, again, look at the value gone up from what we paid for him. It's all about signing cheap and selling for more if you have to. Now, this player is more than just earning a quick buck. He's incredibly well-rounded, still only 24, and of course matches our current need of having decent Premier League players. We're also going to go over and pick up Tom Roth. He is going to come in from Leicester City. He comes in for 14 million. He does okay, drops a 7 match rating with also 3 assists coming in. Of course, he can play left back and also centre back. He is not like the Premier League's best centre back, but what? For a total of 14 million, once again, we've done bits with the value. He has gone up in value, but he's got a few down arrows, which indicates maybe a bit of an injury towards the end of the season, but he's an okay centre back. Believe it or not many people want to come to Plymouth at the moment, despite might get in Champions League, maybe people can smell a fluke. I say that, and then we had managed to attract a name like Arthur. Now, he comes in from AS Roma. He's on a fair bit of money per week. He comes in for 15 million, but he does what I wanted him to do. Come in, drop the experience. He is 30 years of age, but to keep a Premier League team afloat, and you've got to factor in, we're now in the Champions League, you need these sorts of players. I do this every rebuild, and as soon as I bring in experienced players, we manage to link up a few trophies. So do you know what? This could be a big signing. He has still got a lot to offer. Great passing, great first touch, great technique, great anticipation, great balance, great agility. He's still got it in him. And lastly, on the free, again, an incredible business move is going to bring in Alexis Sailmakers. He comes in on the free, 10 goals, 2 assists, drops to 6.76. You know, it's a decent season, and again, valued at 43 to 47 million, which if I do quick maths, just off free transfers alone, or cheap transfers, we could potentially profit around about £150 million, which is a great season, not only from the business side, but also the names we have got into the team. Again, this lad is a must pick up. He can play anywhere down the right, can also do a shift on the left as well. He's quick, he's pretty good. The only weakness I would say is, I personally would never play him right back because his tackling is quite low, but realistically, some of the names we've brought in today, absolutely incredible. Sailmakers, Lazar, Arthur, Tom, Iqbal, and of course Gonzalez as well. We've got 2 players here going on the free. Nothing too much to talk about really. And honestly, I'm excited. Let's get into the next season. Of course, we are going to probably fall down in the Premier League because we are now playing Champions League football. I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to go with a nice 7th place in the Premier League and maybe a little final appearance in the English Cups. Let's go and see. Well, I tell you what, the Champions League actually went somewhat okay because we got all the way to the quarterfinals and we only lose by 1 goal, that being against PSG. That's not too bad. Carabao Cup, we are going to fall to Tottenham Hotspur over 2 legs, 6-4. So again, we are not getting battered. We are being somewhat competitive in these cups. I mean, a semi-final appearance, it's okay. Thing better than a semi-final appearance is a final appearance. This is going to be in the FA Cup, where we go 1-0 up thanks to Reguilon against Newcastle. Now, at this point, I was absolutely buzzing, but sadly for us, they are going to get a goal back in the 60th minute, which of course is not ideal. Willock plays at back stick, and it is a great goal from Zanilo there, which pushes it all the way through to extra time. And I will be honest with you, we do go and lose it 2-1. Now, I did want to showcase the highlights because it was such a good game, but unfortunately, we're not good enough. The only thing left was the Premier League, and I'm actually really happy with this because we have maintained that 4th place finish. But what I will say is, it is not ideal because this position's beautiful, it's incredible, but in terms of goals, average rating, player of the matches, assists, we are absolutely nowhere. The only player we can really brag about is going to be James Trafford in 2nd place with the clean sheet. So our performances are falling through the roof a little bit, which is never an ideal situation. Now, in terms of the squad, we are going to go and see what happens. So we're going to have 22 goals there coming in for Mohamed. We've got Sailmakers with 18, a very good season. Lazar 16 and 13, a great season there. We've got 11 and 6, but realistically, you probably noticed this back in some of my rebuilds, you need a few players in the 20 goal region. You maybe even need one in the 30 plus region. So we are not going to win the Premier League title acting like this. We need more goals coming in from the team. And I mean, assist wise, we've only got 3 players with 10 plus assists. That has to change, and that is going to be a difference in quality in terms of players. We are building a foundation. Of course, this is still a very early on part of the rebuild. We've still got 2 whole years to try and win this Premier League title. So what I will say is, it's a good season, not a perfect season, but I will take it. But of course, I am basing that off the fact that we do get a nice bit of money, and we have got 71 million, more than that. We've got 113 million, which doesn't add up. So I'm going to go to transfers and see if anyone's been sold, and they haven't yet. Let me just go on to the squad. Has Lazar been sold? He hasn't yet. So they have just given us a fair bit of money. 113 million to go into the 4th season, I can deal with, because with that sort of money, I'm expecting to hopefully strengthen the team to a good enough standard where we can win one of these cups and maintain a top 4 finish, because this tactic is everything. The tactic is incredible. The only thing that I might change is this much higher to a standard, because we are Plymouth. We've got to humble ourselves. But I mean, realistically, the players are doing very well. I think looking at this though, this is a very good this is a good graphic. We need to bring in some more centre-backs because that's probably our weakness. In fact, let's check. No. Okay, I'm questioning everything. Let's get into the next transfer window. So then firstly, it's not gone through yet, but it is going to go through because he just wanted to leave the club. Lazar Samardzic is going to go to West Ham, so a Premier League team, which is not ideal. But we have got 63 million. And if we just remember what we paid for this guy, he come in on the free. He's had 2 pretty decent seasons, but we have profited a pure bit of money of £63 million. So unfortunately, that's going to be our first real big outgoing. But with that in mind, of course, I then went and used some installments on top of our budget and brought in Ethan Ampadu. Now, this is a player that has played around the globe, it seems, looking at his career. And he is one of the better centre-backs that wanted to join us and was also somewhat approachable with our budget. We spent 36 million. He drops a 6.79. I will be honest, it's not the perfect entry season, but he was one of the better options on the market. And I will say, in terms of attributes, he's got the tackling, he's got the bravery, he's semi-quick, his strength is okay. He's a decent centre-back. He's not the best in the world, but he will get the job done. To bring in another attacker, that is going to be Oscar Pereira. He is going to come in from Leeds. He comes in for 24 million, 10 goals, 11 assists. I would take that anytime for a player coming to a team fresh off. 16 acceleration, 16 pace, 16 dribbling. You can probably see the attraction. I wanted a very tricky winger to defend against. And this guy, I mean, this guy ticks all the boxes. His value as well, 78 million. That is nearly £50 million more than what we paid. It's a great signing. Speaking of great signings, it's going to be this guy. It's going to be Ryan Gravenberch. Now, he comes in for a total of 13 million. He plays almost every game and just does what I want him to do. Sit deep, get the job done, break up the play. He's incredibly well-rounded. Obviously, his time at Liverpool didn't really work out inside of this game, but for us, he's a good Premier League player. He could also improve, and once again, the value now triple to what we paid. That's becoming quite the habit. Lastly, I've made the executive decision to drop Reguilon, just a second team, and also he can play right back as well, and bring in a world-class, in my opinion, left back who can win the Premier League, in my opinion. 35 appearances, 8 assists. That is going to be Hartman. Now, this guy offers everything. Great stamina, good work rate, good acceleration, good pace, good aggression, good determination. Pretty much good everything. He is one of the better left backs on the market in this current save, and he factors in for what I want from my wing backs. They need to be quick, they need to be good at crossing, they need to have great work rate and great stamina because they are attacking in this system. He has to do that, and this player does it, and that was actually going to be our last signing. So we've welcomed in 3 players here and also Ethan right here. We've lost these 2 players from last season, I believe, and also Lazar, but realistically I think we've come out of this better off. We've improved the back line with a new left back, a new centre back, a new DM as well to help out, and we've also had money to obviously bring in a winger. So let's get into the next season, season 4, and see what we can do. If you are enjoying, be sure to leave a like, by the way. Let's get into it, see what we can cook up. Well, the Champions League, again, I'm not too angry with it because we're getting all the way to the semi-finals where, again, we only lose by 1 goal from reaching a Champions League final, and that unfortunately was against Chelsea, a 3-2 loss. That's not bad though. Quite bad is a very, very early exit in the FA Cup, this time against Brentford. We can't quite glimpse and get to grasp competing in more than one competition. Apart from the Champions League, which has been quite good, the other cups, from a bigger picture, have been quite poor. The 3rd round, we are going to go out against Manchester United, unfortunately, in the Carabao Cup. I will say again, not a bad team to go out against. They did do very well this season. They actually come out and win the Premier League, as you can see here, with only 6 losses. We are going to be in 4th place again, and I'm starting to worry that maybe this is where we can only take Plymouth too, because that is a lot of seasons we have finished in 4th now. I will say it is nice to see some of our players are coming back. So Harry Clark still performing, 15 assists, top assister in the Premier League, the 3rd best performer. Mohamed is going to be the 3rd top goal scorer joint with Alexander Isaac. James Trafford, 1 clean sheet behind rank 1. We're slowly crawling our way back into the stats. But I mean, realistically, we've got 1 last roll of the dice to complete this challenge. Whatever happens in today's video, we are ending on season 5. Now, we have done very well. The amount of Champions League sort of semi-final appearances, we're doing well, but we just need to try and win something. As it stands, apart from the Championship, we have won literally nothing, and I do want to try and win at least a couple of trophies on top of the championship. So we'll go into the squad, and I'm sure it's going to become quite evident that Mohamed has been the saving grace here. 29 goals and 4 assists, 17 and 16 coming in for Oscar. He's also had a great season. Lazar actually still at the club, so I don't know whether that deal fell through or maybe he's leaving at the end of the season. 17 and 9, 15 and 9 for Sailmakers. Morgan Whittaker, not really doing it in the Premier League, to be honest. 20 assists from Harry Clark. He is doing it in the Prem. 11 coming in for Hartman as well. But I mean, realistically, this team on paper, I'm going to put it bluntly, they are a top 4 team at best. So if we've got a chance to win in the Premier League, we're going to need big money because we need more centre-backs, maybe even need another DM to come in because Gravenberch, he is a good player, but as you can see, 2.5-star ability is not going to win you a Premier League title. I'm going to need at least 60 million, and we've got that. We've got 80 million pounds. Now that is a big budget, and I believe if we do go and check, this is still going on, so this money might not even have been added yet. So let's get into the final season, keep the head up and see what we can do because we want to try and win that Premier League title. And that deal has gone through. That is going to be Lazar going to West Ham for 63 million. He does quite well, to be fair. Not as good as what he'd done in our system, but he does fairly decent. And I will say, the money we got for him wasn't already applied. So we went into this window with around about 150 million. So let's lock in because expect some big names to come through. And one is going to be bringing in another striker to try and get the job done. That is going to be bringing in Matthias Arizo. He has developed so well in this save. He is rapid, he's got good finishing, good composure, good off the ball work. And you know what? For the price that we paid for him, which was 65 million, he has returned pretty much a goal every other game. So, do you know what? I'm going to take that and run with it. Above a 7 rating, he has done incredibly well, and it just helps Mohamed out a little bit in terms of getting the goals, etc, etc, because Mohamed was doing a good job, but he can't do it all on his one. So, hopefully, this helps out in that regard, because we spend big on him. Do pick up a free player, that is going to be Lewis Ferguson, again, a player who is now valued at 80 million pounds. He offers a lot that I want in this team. Great mental stats, great physical attributes as well. He's on a fair bit of money per week, but again, he costs me nothing. Comes in, drops a 6.95, grabs a few goals, grabs a few assists. You can't really hate it. Free signing that you definitely can't hate is going to be Ernest. He comes in on the free from Lyon, as you can see here. 28 games. 11 goals, 11 assists, drops a 7.39. I will say probably one of the better performers we have seen as a free transfer. This guy is nuts. 17 dribbling, his finishing and composure are actually quite good. Usually you get players who have got great acceleration, great agility, great pace that can't do that side of the game. This guy can do everything. Can play on the right, can play on the left, and dare I say it, maybe a Premier League winner now because I'm getting quite confident. Arizo, Ernest, they're 2 lethal attackers, and this guy now valued at 77 million. We're making business moves in this rebuild. We're also going to spend big to replace the likes of Lazar and bring in João Neves. Now, he is going to come in from PSG, so you can tell right off the bat we spent serious cashola to get him in. Now, he's valued at 83 million upwards. He is incredible. He's 24. He's a good Premier League player. He is close to full potential, but still can grow. And we brought him in for 50 million, and he has returned better than Lazar did last season. So, do you know what? Fair play, goodbye Lazar. We even profited from both players. He went for 63, we spent 50, profit of 13 million. We've got a younger, and I'm going to say it, better player. And lastly, you have to spend big to attract, and I will say it, a world-class centre-back in this save. That is going to be bringing in Zabrani. Now, this guy currently valued at 155 million. Now, if you just look at him, look at the mental stats, look at the physical stats, 15 tackling, he's only 26, so he's got 5-6 years in him before you even consider seeing a downfall. He comes in for 73 million, but drops above a 7 rating, which tells me one word: consistency. And that's what you need in a Premier League team. So let's go over, see what we've done. I think for the sake of the video, we're going to start with the Prem. We have done that. We have won the Premier League, and you know what? I knew we would do because the player stats that we brought in have done such a good job. And I tell you what, you can see this right here. Matthias Arizo, 3rd place top goal scorer. Again, I thought maybe a little bit better from him, but obviously we've got the job done. I'm not going to complain. Harry Clark, who has probably been, I'm going to say maybe the signing of this rebuild, because he has been with us for so many years now and he's doing so well. Ernest, the 4th best performer. James Trafford, the 2nd most clean sheets. But assists, Harry Clarke, again. Come on, leave a like for Harry Clarke. Ernest, 3rd place. Hartman, don't know why I'm going to flex this, but the most yellow cards, I'm going to shout him out for it. Why not? But overall as a season, we only lost 5 games. Those come in against Ipswich, Newcastle, Chelsea, Man City and also Liverpool. Ipswich still in the Premier League, which is nice to see. Bournemouth, Everton and Leeds are going to go down, so sorry if you support any of those teams. Now, realistically, this is the main aim of the video, but the cherry on top would be a cup final or cup win. So let's go and see what else we done. Well, just so I don't break anyone's hearts, we didn't win the Champions League, okay? Don't get your hopes up. We are going to go out in the quarterfinals this time and on penalties. But do you know what? I've looked back off camera at the sort of seasons we've had in the Champions League. We have been 1 goal or a penalty shootout off reaching the final quite a fair few times. It's been a good effort, and one of the more attractive games of the season is going to be the FA Cup final against Newcastle. We match up again against Newcastle in the final, and we go 1-0 up quite early on. And do you know what? We were playing some incredible football. Ferguson is going to get into some space, into Numa, who is going to make it 2-0 in 49 minutes. Unfortunately, Newcastle are going to find a way back into the game with Lewis Miley making it 2-1 inside of 62 minutes, and they go again in the 91st minute. As you can see, Isaac plays it in to Van Buren to make it 2-2 in 91 minutes. We are now into extra time, where they're going to go through Tonali into Gorner, into Van Bommel, cuts inside, and lashes it into the bottom right. And we actually get a last chance with an own goal from one of their players. And if you look at this, this is literally in the last whistle of the second half of extra time. That was given as an own goal, which of course puts us through to penalties, where Arizo does miss. Isaac steps, he misses. Awful pen so far. Ferguson steps up, he scores into the bottom left. Van Bommel's going to step up, he scores a great penalty again. We're going to step up here, a great penalty. Who's going to step up for them? Lewis Hall, who scored the own goal, apparently does score. Reguilon steps, a Panenka down the middle, pretty brave. An injured Tonali steps up, he also manages to score. Gravenberch is going to step, he's going to score into the bottom right. Anacio's going to step up into the bottom left. And then we've got Zidane Iqbal, great penalty past Lewis Jr. Van Buren is going to step and also score. Great penalties, I must say. Rofe steps into the bottom right. And now we've got Gorner Dalf, who's going to step and also a great penalty, which means Mumba is going to come in into the bottom right corner, and we win 7-6. Meaning we did win, obviously, the final on penalties, and I've just looked, we also won the Carabao Cup on penalties as well. So clearly we've got the hang of penalties in English competitions, we just can't do it in the Champions League, but we have technically won the English treble in our last season. The Premier League, the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, which is way more than whatever we would have set out to do. And in terms of the squad, we can go and see this right now. We're going to have 30 goals from this man here, Arizo. Proven, you spend money, you get results. 22 goals coming in for João Neves, Oscar with 17, 16 coming in for Ernest, Lewis Ferguson on the free, a great signing with 13, 11 coming in there for Mohamed, still getting his goals in. Assist-wise, 21, 16, 10, 10, 9, 9, a lot better from people there, a lot more assists coming in, and I'm going to crown Harry Clarke the best player of the video. In terms of, look at the journey, 9 million, always doing such a good job for us. He has been the most consistent player. He has been the Plymouth Argyle star boy, and do you know what? We have ended this with a great vibe. We really have. Finances, you're going to have a total of 70 million to carry on. We've also added a ton of trophies into the mix. I mean, look at the cabinet right now. We are completely balling out of control. A Premier League title, FA Cup, Carabao Cup. It would have been nice to add a European trophy, but that's going to be your task right now. I've left you with a team that is absolutely incredible, that has just won a treble, so more than good enough. Very, very good player. Trafford, Clarke, Zabrani, Roth, Hartman, Arter, Ampadu, Neves, Piera, Arizo. great players on the bench, and also 70 million to spend. So if you are interested in carrying on this fantastic rebuild, you can go over and also get the tactic over on the Patreon. We've got a team close to 5,000 people now. There's over 13 exclusive perks. If I remember, I'll whack them up on the screen right now. We've also got a promo code where you get 20% off any new signups. So make sure you come on over and take full advantage of that, because you literally get all of this year's content in one sign up. So make sure you come over and get involved. If you have enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.